Good day ladies and gentlemen, I'm Totally the Toad and I'm back with another video. And I'm in the mood to make a new corset. So let me just stop myself right there, past Toad. This is future Toad and we know things went wrong. Kind of. So this video is actually a video about failure, and sometimes that just happens. But I worked a long time with this project and I still wanted to share it because maybe you could learn from my mistakes. The failures were because of two reasons. One was just pure construction that I didn't manage to solve, and two, I didn't finish in time. Because guess what? Sometimes labor enters the picture sooner than you thought. Anyway, let's get into actually trying to make this corset, shall we? There's also one other reason I want to make it, and it's this.
There's nothing here. What are you pointing at?
This dang mark. This right about here. That dang mark. So I've actually cleared the table, or we've cleared the table for once, which means I don't have to sit on the floor to cut out the fabric. Quick update. So I'm at my friend's house and we were discussing how ridiculously big these gussets seem to be, and looking at them I decided to double check, and it turns out I cut out the size 16 instead of 6. So they will go from all the way out here to all the way in here, which makes so much sense. They'll be much smaller and that sounds much more plausible. Trust your guts, people. Trust your guts. Make a quick update. Always check your pattern for seam allowance, inclusion or lack thereof. I thought I did, but apparently I did not. So I think there's like 3 ways that this pattern shows which seam allowance to use, which is a lot to try to get right. So if you follow me over here, this is the first mock-up situation, and this is the front. The front was alright, no worries. Looks good, it seems to fit. This will be folded because it will be laced, so that seems nice. The cup size seems good when I held it up to me. Obviously difficult to tell with this hard thing. If we look at the back, there's an issue because there's a very wide gap here. That's because this side here, I didn't realize that I should have used a seam allowance or added a seam allowance. And this side here is when I realized I should have. So this is much more realistic. It's still a very wide gap at the back, I think, when you fold this in. I'm gonna double check that I'm not missing anything, but if there's nothing indicated on the pattern, I think I will just add another 1.5 centimeters here so that it will hopefully line up in the middle and close-ish. Here, I haven't stitched this part. I pinned it in place right now just to have a good look at how it would fit. But it's not sewn in place, and my idea is that I will stop sewing just about a centimeter or so under the cups, because I think that's where the stomach will sort of I don't know, bulge, flare or whatever. So I think that's where it needs to be able to lace. But it's also good to know that if I didn't use it, the pattern looks like it would fit. So that's good. So simply because I don't remember what I've said and haven't said, I have completed my mock-up, the first mock-up at least, and oh gosh, I am having issues. It's looking like this, and I think I filmed this, but I just did the cording on the most heavily corded side, compared it to the non-corded part to see how much that would shrink. Turns out it was about 0.5 centimeter, so for the pattern for this, hopefully it won't be a mock-up, but for the next version I will use just half a centimeter less seam allowance to sort of make up for that. I think that will work fine. And I'm also not gonna use this old bed sheet. Instead, I bought this nice cotton sateen, or so I thought. I asked the store clerks for cotton sateen and they led me to this fabric and I picked it out. It's really not cotton sateen though, it's polyester sateen, so I'm a bit disappointed it's only 35% cotton in this. But I bought it, we're gonna use it, and if I really like the pattern then I can do another one in cotton later when I'm not pregnant, I hope. So anyway, I've already cut out all of the pattern pieces and we're gonna start by once again inserting the gussets. I also thought a lot about the lacing, and I need a lot of lace, and lace is expensive, and I just didn't feel like buying a bunch of lacing thread maybe I should call it. So instead, because why not, I got myself one of these. I don't know the English word. If I can find it, I'll put it here. But gaffelpåta eller slingpåta in Swedish. And depending on the yarn you use, it will be more or less wide and more or less sturdy. I'm just using this yarn that I had laying about, and it's really sturdy. This will not break. And even if it, you know, wouldn't hold up to the most pressure. It's not supposed to take that much pressure really, because this is a Regency corset. But anyway, I will show you how to use this really quickly if anyone is interested. I really recommend it if you just travel by bus or anything, because it's so easy to bring and use. Okay, so we have our stuff, and to start this off you make like 1.5 eighths. How the heck do I explain this? Over, under, over, under. So you get like that pattern. There's a link or like a description in Swedish that I followed, and I'll link it down below. But once you've started, it's very simple. You just take the bottom thread, pull that over, turn this, draw, or pull, and now you have a new little loop on this side that you can take, turn over, rotate half, turn, pull. So it's very simple, and I do this when me and my boyfriend play Stellaris, because sometimes I have some free time there. So what you can see me do here is insert the gusset. What you do is just fold down the edges and then you do a small backstitch. It is, however, important to reinforce the pointed part of the gusset that you can see me do here. This is because it's the place where it's most likely to tear. I am then basting the two sides together, and I'm folding in the edges because I will do lacing and not a busk. So what you do is you do very, very long running stitches in a visible thread. And once that's done, I grab the edge that we just folded in and I do invisible stitches down the front. I have no idea if that's how you're supposed to do it, it's just what I did, because it's what I thought of at the time. Next up, we're gonna do a bazillion cording channels. To do this, I just made really long again back stitches, and here you can see me insert the cord. Now I used some kind of big-ish yarn. Really, this is probably not what you're supposed to use, but it's what I had at home, so it's what I used. It can be kind of tricky to get out the end, but if your weave isn't too tight, then it's not that difficult. I just realized I need to make 56 lacing holes.
And she went like, oh!
You don't understand, it's so many holes!
And now we're installing said holes in a spiral lace style.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried to punch the holes in this using the pliers. I cannot. So my boyfriend has kindly been helping me punching the holes, and I'm afraid he'll leave me when he finds out just how many holes we need to punch to get this done. And well, they're not particularly even, because I sort of eyeballed it, which I probably shouldn't have, but I did. So we have a bazillion more of these to do before we can try it on properly for the first time. And we'll see. I really need it by now though, so yeah, fingers crossed.
So this is where we're going a bit off script. This is the first time I tried to lace a corset, and after struggling to do that on myself, I realized that there was a huge problem with it instantly. And that is around the bust. See, the corset fit really well over my stomach. It was comfortable, it didn't press, it felt, you know, really, really good. And I enjoyed wearing it. However, it didn't give any bust support, and in fact the bust just sort of weighed down the front of the corset. No matter what I did, how tightly I laced it, it just wouldn't work. I also tried pinching in the top to make it a little bit smaller, and it did sort of help with the fit issue. But see, the problem isn't that the cups were too small, it's the fact that they do not sit flat against the chest, like in the middle of the boobs, or like in between the boobs, which it would do if I had a busk in there, which I do not because I have a stomach in the way. And try as I might, I never managed to fix this issue. And all of a sudden, well, I was in labor and I never got to use the corset. So the moral of this is, sometimes you just kind of fail and there's nothing to do about it. So, what do I think about the pattern overall? Well, I think the pattern is fine. I think the corset turned out, great apart from the bust situation, and I think if you had a smaller bust, maybe this wouldn't be such an issue. But for me, the corset was unwearable, I never managed to solve it, and now it's too late. However, I spent so many weeks trying to make these things, and I still wanted to show you guys what I turned out with, so that maybe you can learn from it and improve. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, that's very weird, but thank you, I guess. And I'll see you next time with another video. Bye!
Nu har jag börjat.